Welcome to another episode of the Tower 26 Speed Racer Podcast. I'm Joe Lubinski here with Coach Gerry Rodrigues. Coach, how you doing, bud?
Good to see you live, finally.
Man, I am excited. I am nervous. Did I say excited?
Jim Lubinski nervous? That's not. I've never seen that in 20 years.
I'm going to say something, though, Jerry. I'm going to say something to you right now. I'm not happy.
Uh-oh.
I'm not happy right now for several reasons. Number one, tax day was yesterday. I'm not happy with tax day.
Well, you should be happy that it's passed. You got 364 more days.
There's still some things that I need to be taken care of in the next few days. I got a little bit of an extension, and let's just say I'm in a good spot right now that I'm next to you, because if I was inside right now just mulling over my life decisions and the reason I'm living in California, I might be packing up. Might be throwing my stuff in a moving truck and moving to Utah with you.
Well, it's one of the reasons we moved. It's a lot, so I can pay less taxes.
Okay, so there's another thing I want to talk about. This isn't an economics show. We're not going to talk about that, right? We love our life. We coach athletes for a living. It's amazing. But how are you doing, by the way? I didn't ask how you are.
I'm good. I mean, I haven't been in California for about 6 weeks. I was planning on being here, as you know, every month with our move. And I had 5 or 6 trips in the first 2 months of the year, Jan and Feb, and I got a little burnt out.
Yeah. Well, last time we did this was on the
we did
virtual world. Yeah. So now we're back in live. So it's nice to smell you again. But you see these medals behind me right here? You see those medals?
I've been watching those for a few years.
I could pick any one of these medals here. Herbalife. Triathlon, LA Triathlon. And I can tell you a story from that race.
Sure.
Every single one of those medals, right?
Yep.
How many would you say is there? How many medals do you say are behind us right now?
Probably at least 100.
At least 100. That's a lot of races.
That's a lot of races.
All distances, from sprint distance up the Ironman, half marathon, 10Ks, 5Ks, whatever the hell it is, I've raced.
Yep.
We take all, and you wrote this book. I'm showing that if you're listening on audio, you've written this book based on all your experience. Triathlon Swimming, Master Open Water Swimming with the Tower 26 Method by Gerry Rodrigues, right?
Yep.
You took and you put it in the book, right? I have all this experience. I coach all these athletes. I tell them session after session, phone call after phone call, this is how you have to do it. I've done this wrong. I've done it right. I know it works. I know it doesn't work. Listen to me, right? I have all the answers. I have most of the answers. I have a lot of the answers. But what upsets me is when I tell an athlete something and then they go into a race and they have a traumatic experience and I say, well, what did you do? Well, I did this. Did I tell you to do that? No. Why did you do that? Oh, it's just because I was used to.
Yeah, but come on, Jim. I'm shocked that upsets you, because here's why. You are a parent. How many times have you told Mason or Maddie not to do something or to do something and they didn't do it? I mean, your kids, one of the reasons for having kids, by the way, is they help train their parents. Right? You get used to trying over and over and over. And, you just have to have patience. As you know, you're growing a long string of patience with kids. It's the same thing with coaching. Well, it just takes a lot of time.
I know, but just like you are, and you're on the pool deck and you see somebody do something asinine over and over and over, you say, stop. Why are you doing it? You get pissed off, and you don't get pissed off, but you're like a dad who has to lay the law down.
Sure.
I'm talking to an athlete who raced a race recently, and you know what a big fan we are of precision hydration.
Of course.
Not because we love the people who run the company, all of our friends over there. We create the relationship because it's the only vehicle that gets the sodium into the system efficiently at the magnitude that it does. To get 1,500 milligrams of sodium into your system efficiently and effectively, everything else would taste like salt water. They've done it, and because it's a transport system, they put all this R&D into it. We promote it. Hey, you got to take this. It's going to change your racing. And then I hear an athlete goes into a race, and they don't take it. They go back to what they're used to. They take their mom and pop store drink, Bear Nutrition or whatever the hell it is. I don't know anything about Bear Nutrition. I'm just using an example. It's not precision. And they get in 300 milligrams of sodium an hour for a half Ironman bike. They're not going to perform to their expectations. Actually, they're going to sputter out as they go, right?
Well, also, go ahead, please. Well, regardless of the name, whether it's precision nutrition or Bear Nutrition or gym nutrition,
Ooh, I like that.
whatever your you don't do anything new on event day. You don't change. So if they've been training with precision hydration during their training sessions and they show up on event day and use something differently, that's not very prudent, right?
Right.
So those.
And that's the thing. Like sometimes we get, and this is what I'm trying to make. We get so set in our ways of, I need to use this because that's what I've been using. And we kind of, sometimes we poo-poo. Take the swim stroke, for example. I've been doing this with my swim stroke for so long. If I try something different, it's not going to be what I'm used to, and it's going to feel totally foreign, and I don't want to feel foreign. It's the same thing with nutrition. I've been taking scratch labs for 15 years. If I go to precision hydration, it's not scratch. It's something I'm not used to. What if it doesn't work? But from our experience, we know it works.
Correct. But to your point, the athlete needs to, we're creatures of habit, right? I mean, that's our makeup, and we're familiar with what we're familiar with. And as a dad, a parent, as I was saying earlier, with your kids, that you have to sort of, it's step by step by step to get changes. Adults, you've heard me say this, adults are just 12-year-olds with American Express cards, right?
Oh, I love it. I love yes.
So it's the same. It's a slow change to get people to modify behavior. We're human. It's normal. Behavior modification takes a while. And
so you think you're talking me off the ledge right now? But
well,
you're not. I'm still pissed.
To your athlete,
thank you. Yes.
To your athlete, I mean, I feel your pain because we've both seen this over the years with coaching. And sometimes it's easy to fall back into, not sometimes, many times. It's, Jim, you know this. Everybody listening here knows this. Many of us, if not all of us listening, have had a relationship. In fact, everyone's had a relationship. Every single person. Because if you're on this earth, you've had a relationship because you had a parent. Okay, somebody gave birth to you. And then you went to school and you had friends and so forth and so on. So everyone's had a relationship. Relationships are difficult. They take work. And, you're married and your wife, I'm looking at insane photo of her and you in Bali, I think, right?
That's Bali. Yeah, that's Bali. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
I'm not going to be going back there anytime soon with the taxes I'm paying right now. I ain't going to Bali.
The point is, you both bring two different things to your marriage. And at times when you have challenges in your marriage, you kind of fall back into old behaviors that that perhaps doesn't work in this relationship. We just sort of fall back in. There's this default thing. And we have to work on those things. So we've all been through this. And for the athlete, it's the same thing. You fall back into patterns, and whichever athlete you're talking about in particular fell back into a pattern.
It's an example. This happens frequently. You're right. You get, especially in this type A sport, I got to do it this way. This is the way I do it. This is the way I do it. John Mulcahy, I'll call him out because John Mulcahy was addicted to Carbo Pro. But every run, he'd shit his pants. But he wanted to keep taking Carbo Pro because that's what he was used to. He's a creature of habit. It took me going over there and feeding him with a bottle, Precision Hydration 1500, for him to feel the benefits. I had to actually go there, Jer, hold a bottle up when he was on the bike and just feed him that bottle. And then he started believing he didn't poop his pants coming off the bike. So,
now that you say that, his shorts have been cleaner.
Yeah, they are cleaner and new. He's got a bunch of new shorts. So that's where I'm at right now. Not to belabor the point, but we have a lot of experience. We try to parlay that experience. Is that the right word? Parlay that experience to our athletes. Sometimes they're not going to listen, but then you have an experience like this athlete had or that athlete had, and maybe they're a little more open up. Maybe they're open to changing that habit.
I just sent you. I don't even remember the name of the coach. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I sent you a little clip on that running coach, right? That was talking about threshold pacing, right?
Yeah.
Threshold training.
Yep.
And
that was great. I use that example all the time. I love it.
We see this all the time in workouts, and the sort of the thumbnail of what he was talking about was basically if you're going to do a threshold set, a higher intensity set, and let's say you're doing 5 reps of it, and the duration of each rep is 5 minutes, as an example, right? But you did rep number 1 in 4:45, which is 15 seconds faster than what your threshold pace is. And then rep number 2, you went 5 minutes, which is your threshold. And rep number 3, you went 5:15 and then 5:30, and you started falling off. But the fall off was because you went too fast in rep number 1, right? Yeah. And if the thesis behind the set was to train a threshold for all 5 reps, well, you only did it for 1, which was number 2. Number 1, you were above threshold, and the other 3, you fell off. So that set became pointless, right? For the purpose of that workout. folks who have the innate ability, and A-type personalities are like this. They're highly driven, which is the sport of triathlon in general, right? So the highly driven person, coupled with the person who has that sort of innate, and John's one of these, by the way, Mulcahy, that wants to go after it quickly in races, right? That behavior modification is difficult. That particular athlete requires more careful patience. I mean, I could use a lot of other words to describe it, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
There's a lot more patience required with that type of personality. And our job as coaches, we have to learn all the personalities and try to manage them accordingly to be effective. And some of us are better at it than others. I get frustrated. I still get frustrated 40, whatever number of years later.
If you didn't get frustrated, you wouldn't care.
Sure,
You care.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's that. Be open for suggestions. Be open
Yes.
to try new things, and just know, hey, your way might be the answer, but it might also not be the answer. And be open to try new things. You can always go back to the way it was, but try something else, right? We're going to talk. What are we going to talk about today? Because this is going to be relevant throughout the whole theme of this episode, I think.
Well, in fact, you sent me a clip to look at on the pro athlete that got, what did he get, 8th or 10th at
Ninth.
ninth? Mark Dubrick, right?
Dubrick came out. I was at Oceanside. We're talking
Yes.
Oceanside
Yes.
Street. Dubrick came out. I was actually at the race. I was running a relay with Francisco Poswaith Munoz, who is one of our athletes who has no use of his legs. He was born with spina bifida. Amazingly driven athlete, motivating. The guy is fired up all the time. He's shooting for the 2028 Olympics, Team Mexico. But on the Oceanside course, they don't allow wheelchairs on the run. It's too tight. He'd be running people over left and right.
Yep.
So he asked me, hey, I'm going to swim and bike. Would you come down and run with me? I actually said, do you know someone who can run the relay? And I said, Jerry, I said, instead of trying to find this person, connect them, I'll just drive down there and do it. We had 30 athletes racing. So I went down there and I ran, but I had a long time before because he was doing the whole bike course with his arms. 3,000 feet of climbing, insane climbs on this Oceanside course. Francisco did the whole thing with that arm cycle.
Yep.
So he swam, he biked in 4 hours, and I was watching everybody. I watched the pro swim on Oceanside. You can watch the whole swim.
You can walk along the side, right?
I watch all the pros, the men and the women. I watch them come through transition. I watch him go out on the bike. And so I'm saying I saw Dubrick come in. He was first or second out of the water. The guy was flying. I think they swam in 22, 23 minutes. They were moving. So sorry, cut you off. Go ahead.
Well, no. Well, you sent me a video that he put out after. Maybe you have that. Should we run that video?
Yeah, let me see if I can bring it up.
I think he put it on Instagram. I'm not an Instagram guy, but
oh, come on, you're on there all the time.
we have a
my Instagram has been blowing up lately, Jared. It is like I'm getting thousands of new followers every day. I don't know what you're doing or what you're putting out there, but my Instagram's crazy. All right, so here's Dubrick. I think I'm showing that right. We're using Riverside for the first time today, so hopefully this works. But here's Dubrick.
Are we able to play what he says? Able to hear what he has to say?
Sound up here. It's probably muted.
Let's give it a try.
All right,
if not, we can.
How easy the swim was, and he was wondering why no one was pushing the pace. So going into the swim, my goal was not to push the pace at all. I just found myself at the front after a good start, and I wanted to chill because the bike now is so much more important. When they moved it to 20 meters, especially for me, the way I race, I need to conserve as much as I can. And it sounds like other people were saying.
So what he's saying, they changed, just so you guys are aware, if you're not aware, they changed the pro race to a 20-meter draft zone, right? So it's a huge amount of space between bikes. So that's how I'm clarifying that.
Said differently, it's reduced the draft.
Reduced the draft, because you're still going to get draft. It used to be 12 meters. They reduced it. I mean, they made it larger, so it's going to reduce the effect of drafting. So he's saying it's much more important to come out of the swim fresh as opposed to really push the swim and not have any left for the bike, whereas before they could draft. Now that's pretty much a time trial.
Or thinking the same thing. It was a wetsuit swim in salt water, and 70 people. First turn was like 600 meters away. So it looks like there's a lot of people just looking around, like who's pushing the pace, and no one really wanted to do that. Jonas and I just switched off. So the two of us were the only two people at the front in the entire swim. And I know how strong Casper is. Jonas is much stronger than me. We had Brock in there and plenty of firepower to push the swim. But I think there's going to be this trend that everyone's just doing that. They're looking around to other people. Hey, you're going to push the swim. But no one really wants to because we're conserving for the bike. We'll see if this becomes a trend. I don't know. I hope not. But I think less emphasis on the swim now. It's all about position. because the bike with the 20 meters, it's such a big effort and such an important part of the race now.
Okay, so I stopped it on the nice little echelon that they formed, right? So it's the top guys at the front, and then it widens out to the slower swimmers, all falling into that pack. If you guys are listening at home,
If you're just listening, you should go watch this. So you should go to, where are we on YouTube, right?
yeah,
Go to YouTube and watch.
No, this is on Instagram.
No, but our podcast.
Ours. Yeah.
You'll be able to see this, because it's actually good to see this standard triangle shape. In this case, it's a very tight triangle as opposed to a wider one of the swim pack. Because I believe this first swim pack was about 20 guys ish. Right?
Yeah,
20 athletes, and normally at Oceanside, because it's, and we'll get into this in a moment, because it's wetsuit and it's in the bay, not in the ocean. There are normally 2 or 3, sometimes maybe 4 that break away, the better swimmers, right? This time, that didn't occur, is what he's saying.
I'm gonna come back to us. We can.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So, well, let's. So I wrote some notes down here as you.
So he's saying the swim is less important, save energy, so you have more to put out on the bike, where it's more of a time trial.
Right. So he said wetsuit swim. I want to go over these details. Wetsuit swim in a bay. A couple of guys that were super fast, him and one other guy, and he said a couple others had firepower. And he says there's less emphasis on the swim in this particular race. Is this a trend? Should it be a trend? I think is sort of the genesis of what he's getting at. So let's break it down. Anytime there's a race that has a wetsuit, at the professional level, but at the amateur level, it's going to be the same. But at the professional level, where the density of the pack is tighter than at the amateur level, meaning the variance between the fastest and the slowest is much tighter because they're pros, right? They're all at a certain higher ability level. So let's say the density of the spread between the first, I'm making up for the purpose of this conversation, in a 70.3 gym, let's say it's 8 minutes from the fastest guys that get out in 22 minutes to the last-ish pros that get out in 30 minutes. In a non-wetsuit swim, non-wetsuit. But the moment you make that a wetsuit swim, that variance, that 8-minute spread, gets condensed down to 5 or 6 minutes. Because wetsuits benefit the lesser ability swimmers than the higher ability swimmers like this. Mark, I mean, from my understanding, he's swam 447-ish for 500. I mean, the guy swam 21.9 for 50 freestyles. He's got some speed, swam sub 50 seconds for 100. He claims he can swim 10 minutes for 1,000. This is a good swimmer, okay? Yeah. I mean, he's a decent swimmer. I mean, my collegiate standards, he's a mediocre swimmer. But in triathlon, he's a plenty good enough swimmer, right? So, but you put a wetsuit on, his benefit is pretty low with a wetsuit because he's already of high value of an athlete, a swimming athlete. Versus someone like yourself with no swim background, you're going to benefit more. All folks that come from running backgrounds with no swimming, yourself, professional hockey with no swimming, your benefit's going to be greater with a wetsuit. So the spread now condenses down to 5 minutes-ish. These are
less of a delta. Right.
Much less of a delta. So this swim was wetsuit. It's in a bay, so it's flat water, well-designed, well-marked course. So you're going to have a tighter field anyway because it's a wetsuit in a bay, flatter water. You don't have to deal with surf. Right? And well-marked course. And in fact, this particular year, water temperatures were 6 degrees warmer. Am I right?
Mid-60s. Yeah, it's weird. It's usually about 58 to 60. This year is 66.
Okay, so you have 6 to 8 degrees warmer. So you have all these things that are going to benefit the lesser quality swimmer. So the odds of having this wide spread gets reduced in this particular race. Now, those are the facts. Now let's get down to what he thinks is happening. So it was interesting to me when I listened to his analysis when you sent it to me because you wanted my opinion on it, right?
Yeah.
And he said the reason that the race, or he slowed down, right? And others at the front slowed down is because they want to conserve their energy for when they get to the bike.
Right.
Is that right? And he thinks,
floating it out.
Is this going to be a trend? Well, I think if they went about this and that was their mindset before, I don't think that's the right mindset. If I were the coach and I were coaching against him, meaning I'm coaching you or anybody else in that field, or if I was his coach as an example, I would want him to break away. I would want to do just the opposite, okay? Because now with a 20-meter rule from 12, Okay, 12 to 20 is 8 over 12. What is that? It's a 67%-ish further length behind now. So it reduces drafting even down to not totally zero, but it takes away any benefit. So you're really crappy swimmers, and that's a relative term. Sam Long is not a crappy swimmer, but relative to Mark Dubrick, he is a crappy swimmer, right? But Sam Long, who is a great biker, terrific biker, like Lionel Sanders, right?
Yep.
Why would you want to slow down and have those guys closer to you on the swim? Sam only came out 2 minutes back from them, a minute 45.
Yeah,
he's normally 5 or 6 or 7 minutes down.
Yeah, it was quick.
Right?
I saw him come out. I saw him where he came out, and that group of swimmers came out with the Sam was with. And I was really surprised that they were so close to that.
So Sam is going to ride through those guys, eat them up, and then put a spread. Why are you giving up 3 minutes or 2 minutes to Sam, who's going to run you down anyway? So I don't agree with the strategy. I'm for, if you're that good of a swimmer, to swim a minute faster or a minute and a half faster, or whatever he thinks he could have gone faster. If you're fit, right? The guy swims 25K a week, and he swam competitively. He's got great swim endurance. It's not going to do any damage to him on the bike. He's still going to ride his 205 or 206 or whatever he rides, but he's going to have another minute or two lead on Sam. Or the bikers. I'm using Sam as an example.
Well, yeah, you're totally right. You're totally spot on, because what this drafting did is they made it a true time trial, right?
As it should be.
To finish, it's a true time trial. So if you're waiting for them in the swim to do whatever, all they're going to do is just leave you behind on the bike. Like, why are you waiting for them? You're just these pros got to start looking, and it's totally foreign. I don't blame Mark, because it's not the way that we've been thinking for the last however long there's been pros, right? It's like, get in the water, swim together, get on the bike. I mean, guys are running 230 off the bike because they're getting a major advantage when they're 12 meters. Now we go to 20, they're not getting as much advantage. They're gonna have to actually work. So these pros have to change their mindset from it is tactical to an extent, but a lot less than it used to be, to, hey, it's hunker down. It's a time trial against myself. I got to swim as fast as I can. I got to bike as fast as I can. I got to run as fast as I can.
The dynamics of the race, what he's saying is that he thinks the dynamics of the race are changing because of the 12 to 20 meter distance now on the bike. Therefore, this is what happened in the swim, or this is what they did in this particular event. And he asked it as a question. He didn't say this is what's going to happen. He posed it. Is this the future of what the swim's going to look like, where it's going to be slower? I hope not, but and I hope not from the perspective of, to me, this coach, it doesn't make any sense for that to occur. But you remember when Lance got into triathlon, and when Lance came in, he completely changed the dynamic of the bike, because Lance can swim well. He would come out with the front group, and at that period of time when he was involved, there were a couple of guys who could ride pretty well, but for the most part, they were just decent bikers, but they could run well. Okay, but so they would manage the bike. They wouldn't be gassing it. They'd manage the bike pretty well, and then they'd lay it open on the run. Well, the moment Lance came in, they couldn't manage the bike anymore. They had to work really hard, because they couldn't afford for Lance to put 8 or 10 minutes on him, because they wouldn't be able to run him down.
No way.
Because he's a decent runner. He's not a great runner, but he's a decent runner.
Right.
Lance was, right?
Right. To run 10 minutes faster to catch him, he's already running 6 minute pace.
So they had to pick up their game on the bike, so the delta wouldn't be as wide. So I'm taking the same position there. You're going to have to pick up your game on the swim, okay? The better swimmers, so you can have that spread on the bikers. Because once the Sams of the world, and again, using him as a reference of better bikers, once they come by and they blow by you, it's 20 meters. It's not 12 anymore, so you're not getting a draft benefit.
There's no reason to wait for anybody.
So I don't understand the thinking. If you are swim fit, okay, and you're that good, Mark, if you hear about this or see this video or see our podcast, 21.9 for 50 free, you have power. 10 minutes for 1,000 or 447 for 500, you have good swim endurance. You should be able to put 7 minutes in Sam Long, minimum 5 minutes. And because that didn't happen, okay, Sam, I mean, we could go check the numbers here, Jim, but Sam came out a couple of minutes down, which he normally doesn't. So he was able to tear through the field. Yeah. I think he had the fastest bike split, 202-ish. Those guys.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he rode. When they're out on the bike and the tracker was here and there, I saw him come off, and he was right up there. the first 2 guys off the bike flying, and he really went for it. He had a great ride. He had a great swim, but I think, not selling Sam's swim short, but because those front guys didn't press the effort, it just gave those other guys less of that delta.
Here it is. Sam Long, 24:25. This would be one of his better swims that I've ever better swim. 24:25, and he rode 2:02. Now let's go to.
And they didn't string out the field.
Dubrick.
They didn't string out the field, but
He swam 22:24, so he swam 2 minutes faster, and then he rode 2:06:27, so he was 4.5 minutes down on the bike. He would have still rode 2:06, I believe, right? If he swam another minute or minute and change faster in the swim, I mean, he made it sound like he had a lot in the tank that he could go.
Yeah, and and he's a strong athlete. He came in 9th overall in the day, and it was a very strong field. So it's not like he's just a swim guy and then everybody just blows right by him. He can hold his own all 3 disciplines. But
here's the deal, Jim. I know I'm interrupting you, but I'm not looking at the stats. If he swam a minute faster and he was able to still hold the same pace he did on the bike and run, which if he's swim fit, he would have ended up 5th rather than 9th.
Mm-hmm.
A minimum of 5th. He would have come in ahead of Jason West.
Right. So I think they just got to change. They got to race more like we tell our athletes to race.
Go time trial. It is a 3.5 hour time trial.
Yeah.
Figure out how to pace it smartly, and if you're a swimmer, rip the swim because it's not going to hurt you.
Yeah.
That's your strength.
And I think our athletes can learn from Sam too. Is he used that suction of the group that was slowing down and swimming easier to pull him up to a faster speed. So it kind of worked out in the perfect case scenario for a guy like Sam or for our athletes, right? It's like you're not might be the fastest swimmer, but if you can find someone that's slightly faster than you and you can get on those feet and have them suck you throughout that swim, you're not only swimming faster, but you're saving energy for the bike and the run.
Yep. Yeah.
So Rick, maybe you come on the podcast. We'll get you on here.
I think it's worth discussing because what we're really talking about is race strategy, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's one sport, as Matt Dixon always says, it's swim, bike, run. It's not just swim and then bike, then run. It's one sport, swim, bike, run. But for a good swimmer, that's fit, there's no tax on you.
Well, and when you're at the pointy end, whether you're a pro or you're elite age grouper, every second counts. It's you got to make the most and maximize every single second out there. So yeah, and that, there's no time to take your foot off the gas at all. You should just put your head down and do what you can do, and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah.
So what's this? Moving on. What's this pink thing you got right there? Were you fishing around in my bedroom or what? What is that? Hey now. We got a pink torpedo on the desk here on the Tower 26 desk.
Well, I found
staring at this for the last 20 minutes.
I found this in your pool, actually, and it says, you guys that are watching this, underwater games. And this is what Mason plays in the pool with, right?
What we do, we throw it down there.
Yeah.
That guy's a fish, man. That guy's swimming like a maniac.
It's shaped like a torpedo, and it has 4, what do you call those at the back? Fins, right? And it's a kid's toy. You put it on the water, right? Yeah. You hold it, and you just push it on the water, and it goes insanely fast.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why?
Why does it go fast?
Yeah.
I'm sure the shape and the structure of it.
Exactly.
The shape and the structure of it go fast.
Exactly.
There's a tautness to this. It is not bendable. Here it is. I'm forcefully trying to bend this,
and
it's got great tautness. Now, it's not completely like a piece of iron because that would be too stiff, right?
Right.
But it is firm structure. And I brought a pencil to show also. This is tautness. It has firm structure, but it's not totally crazy tight because you can just snap it somewhat, right? Am I right?
Don't break it. Oh, you're breaking your pencil. Oh,
yeah, here it is. We're just sharp. Now I've got 2 pencils.
Got two pencils. Two pencils. One for Maddie Mason, one for Mason. Right.
So it has structural integrity, and this is what we need without being tight. Swimming. And the problem is with body position and water, it's easy to be soft and soggy or sloppy or spaghetti-like because so much of your weight is displaced, right? 90-something% of weight is displaced, and we want to be more like this. And the word, don't confuse this because it's so firm with being tight. It needs to have just strong foundational structure. And it's the easiest thing to lose in swimming, especially when you get fatigued. Different in running, because if you completely gave up all foundation in running, you'd fall to the ground, right? Because gravity will push you down. The thing with swimming is you're suspended, okay, because you're displaced, weight is displaced. So even if you put no structure, you'll still float. You'll still be, especially if you're wearing a wetsuit too. But we want to be able to hold our body with good structure. So I wanted to show this toy that I talked about at one of the camps that we did, because there's a reason it has firmness, and there's a reason it's shaped the way it is.
Yeah, and that, I talk about that in the swim all the time. I also talk about in the run. You see, especially in the Ironman distance where it's a long day out there, and occasionally you see David Y had this happen to him at a race a few last year, May sometime, whatever is one of his races, thousands of races he did last year. But he finished and he was tilted over to the side as he was running, right? His core had given up on him because he actually had a broken rib at the time, and his core was sacrificed. He was compensating throughout the day, and all that compensation imbalance added up mile after mile after mile, and his core gave up to him, and he lost that structure. He lost his ability to hold himself up in that taut, good posture position. Like you said, in the swimming, when you're in the water, it's so easy to go back to that eel position because you're moving your arms. You're worried about where you're going. You're looking, you're sighting at the buoys. You're trying to kick, and you lose the focus on that good posture, that good position. And as soon as you lose this torpedo, you lose that hydrodynamic feel, and you start listing throughout the water.
You turn into mush, basically. And in a pool, you're going to go slower. It's damaging. It's more. There's more resistance. But in open water, it's even worse because it's highly dynamic, right? Way more dynamic than a pool. So all that turbulence around you, not good.
And I think with a wetsuit makes it even worse because you have the tension of the wetsuit on the core, but a lot of our swimmers take that for granted, and they say, "Well, I have the tension on the core. I'm just going to forget about my back half." And when you get that type of flotation on the back half that a wetsuit gives you, and you don't have that engagement of the core of you're like a semi on the ice, right?
Yeah.
You're swimming at the front, and your back end is all over the place. So when you have a wetsuit on, you actually got to overdo that engagement of the core to keep that good structure, that good body position.
So I wanted to I wanted to sort of switch gears quickly and go into spend a minute on this. I wanted to get your opinion on because this affects our sport.
So you don't want my opinion?
No, I want your opinion.
I don't know what it's going to be, but you don't want to have it.
I always want.
I'm not in a good mood. I told you I'm not in a good mood.
So there's this whole issue that's going on right now with college sports and the ability to change schools, change coaches. Things got turned upside down. There's what's called a portal now, right?
Yeah, totally.
That's different than when you and I were in college. Okay.
Yep.
And President Trump just put out a statement, I think, a couple of weeks ago about let me see if I can find it. Trump issues a college sports executive order targeting NCAA transfer rules and eligibility. Did you read this?
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
Did you watch the NCAA basketball championship?
God, one of the best ever. One of the best ever.
Exactly. I turned it on and I thought that they had made the court smaller. I said, this basketball court is tiny, but it's not that. Every single guy out there is like 6'8" to 7'2" and looks like a full-on football linebacker. Did you notice that? Every single guy, including a guy with 7'4" or whatever you are.
Highly athletic, yeah. 7.
But if you look at all these guys and you look at what they had done in their college career, I think every single one of them didn't start at the school that I didn't know if this is the exact fact, but the ones that I heard them talk about started at a different school and then went in the portal and ended up at this school.
At Kentucky?
Right? So they were whatever school it was. It was who was playing? Michigan against.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Michigan and Connecticut.
Connecticut. Yeah. So they were recruited, or however they do it, by the other school when they'd start. I think it's taking the whole spirit out of college sports because they're turning it into what free agency did to professional sports, right? They're saying, okay, let's move it around. You don't have to be committed to one thing. We can recruit you while we're in the process to this other thing. And then we can create super teams because we're recruiting all these other guys. I think it just takes the whole spirit out of the NCAA sports. I don't think it's the right thing to do. That's my own thing. I just think I look at this and I don't, you recruit, these coaches recruit so hard to bring these athletes to the school. They come, they have a year of success and they say, you know what, screw this. I'm going to go to another more successful program. These other successful programs start to thrive. The lower end programs start to wither out and die. And, you're just strengthening the top end and weakening the bottom end.
So I'm going to quasi-quote because I don't remember exactly what he said, and I had meant, Jim, I apologize, but I had meant to go back and get the gentleman's name. But I heard an interview literally a few days after the tournament with a gentleman on CNBC Business News, right? And about this exact topic.
Yeah.
His perspective was, which I liked, actually. So I'm stealing some of his thunder, and I wish I knew his name to quote him. But he basically said, if you're making the sport more professional-like, then you need to have a professional organization in charge of it, not the NC2A who doesn't really know what they're doing. Because now it's pretty much all the rules are out the window, and a kid could just transfer basically every year.
And they're getting paid.
And they're getting paid. And so now you have a number of issues, such as, well, how many transfers? His thing was, you should have, this should be professionally run, and you should have rules in place. You can only transfer X number of times, 1 or 2 times. You have salary caps. You have age caps. In other words, you can't have somebody that played in the NBA for 7 years, okay, or 6 years, and then but they left college as a sophomore, but now they can come back and still have 2 more years. I mean, it's sort of the wild, wild west. And his thing is, if you're going to do this and you have money, get it professionally structured, okay, with rules in place. So that's the business and financial side. The issue that I really have with it, I come back to, you know me, I try to hit the foundation of things when I think them through. And for me, why is college created? It's for an education, right? And out of that education comes comradeships and community and so forth and so on, okay? So that gets highly fractured now because a kid can change every single year, okay? Now, I get it. As an athlete, you fall into community immediately as you go to a team. It's not like just a kid going to a different university every year because you're right into something you're familiar with. So the community aspect is not as much, but the educational becomes a problem because there's transfer, loss of credits. So the education now becomes a far secondary, right? And also, the biggest problem I have with it, what are we teaching our kids? Because when you ask the question, why is someone leaving a team? You know as well as I know, some of those reasons are, I didn't like what the coach told me. I didn't like how he or she spoke to me. Okay?
Yeah. And
okay.
Totally.
So now it's okay to say, I don't like how he or she spoke to me or how they treated me, or I didn't get to play as much and I think I should be playing. So the other school comes in and, sort of referees that by saying, okay, we'll make sure you play more and I'll talk to you nicer. Okay.
Yeah. Especially in today's day and age with, the athletes that are coming up that are, dare I say fragile. Like they're a little more fragile than when we came up, right? So
but we've taught that.
Exactly.
We've allowed that to happen.
Exactly. And you can't be as, straightforward with these athletes. And if you are, they can easily say, I'm going to go to the next thing. So these coaches have to step on eggshells. They can't actually coach the way they want to coach. And maybe that's a good thing. You got to really have love and passion bringing it back to passion in your coaching as well. You can't just be a hard-nosed guy nobody wants to play for. So it might be making some better coaches.
But even in spite of hard nose, I'm going to bring up a name that's going to probably, have some people like myself lose more hair or set their hair on fire. There's a name in college basketball that was one of the greatest coaches, but people didn't like how he coached, or some didn't. Indiana.
Bobby Knight.
Right? The guy who threw a couple of chairs around, okay?
Yeah.
But his players loved him.
Yeah.
Yeah. The coach of Connecticut, who they got second, they didn't win the tournament, he's a tough coach.
Yep.
Players love him.
Yep. Exactly.
So I think we need more rules and regulations, as a CNBC interview person was talking about, and this thing of being able to transfer every year. Now, by the way, who's a beneficiary of that is the kid who won the Heisman, right? That went to school, Sanchez, right?
Yeah, right. Great
Sanchez?
interviews. Watch that guy's interviews.
He's a lovely kid. I mean, he's a young man. He's wonderful. He's such an example for society, right?
Yeah.
But I think he went to Cal and he couldn't play. And he transferred, and now he went to one of the worst football schools. So it's not like he was actually going up the ladder. He went down the ladder.
Exciting, yeah.
But he turned the team around. So I don't want him to be used as an example of why it works. He's, to me, the exception to the rule, okay? But he was a beneficiary of being able to transfer, but he only made, I believe, one transfer, We just have too many transfer opportunities, right?
Yeah, there's got to be
It's too
something
easy.
regulating it, and money's talking. I think money is, how we're going to bring as much money to this program as we can. Let's fill the seats. Let's sell the TV deals.
And do we have
best
6 or
athletes.
7 schools with all the players? I mean,
Yeah.
you basically have a professional league with six great collegiate teams, and everybody else where
Yeah, and taking it from basketball to ice hockey just decided to this year start allowing the players who play the top level of junior, who are actually juniors out of high school. You go play 2 years. That's what I did in Bismarck, North Dakota. And I played in called Tier 2 juniors, right? So Tier 2 juniors, you don't get paid anything. You don't pay anything to play, but you pretty much play professional ice hockey without getting paid. And then you're eligible to go to NCAA because you never received any kind of stipend or anything from the team, right? Because if you receive that, then you're officially a professional athlete. You're not allowed to go play professional sports, or you're not allowed to go to the NCAA schools. So they just announced this year, as of going into next season, that they're going to allow the Tier 1 junior athletes who get a stipend, who get paid to play, where the only route used to be, okay, you can play Tier 1, which is a better hockey, but you can't go to college. You have to go to pro route because we're paying you to pay, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this year they said, okay, we're going to accept Tier 1 players in the NCAA. So it's changing the whole dynamic and taking these athletes who've been paid to play ice hockey already at a younger age and allowing them to go into the NCAA, which it's negating all these other kids who committed to saying, hey, I'm not going to get paid. I'm not going to go to that Tier 1 because I want to be eligible. So they're erasing scholarships. They're saying we don't want you because we're going to take this player, this player, this player. It's just changed the whole dynamic of it. And I just think it's the wrong thing to do, right? It's these guys' decision to go do this or not do this, and they're being punished for it.
Yeah. The rules got turned upside down pretty quickly.
Yeah, totally.
And money's out there, and it's which is fine to some extent.
Okay, let's get back to performance.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Let's get back to performance. So I sent you just as a FYI as to as you well know, I saw this outstanding performance I thought we should bring attention to.
Cassandra, right?
Cassandra Beaugrand ran a 30:52.
Yeah.
Right?
Triathlete.
Yes. 30:52. 28-year-old finishes in 30:52 in a 10K race in France.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's exactly what we've been saying, is that these athletes now that are in the sport, they're in the prime of the sport, the professional athletes, whether they're, Blumenfeld on the men's side or Cassandra on the women's side, they've grown up as triathletes, right? They've grown up putting everything into their swimming, into their biking, into their running. And this is a perfect example. She can hold herself with elite swimmers. She can hold herself with elite cyclists. And now you can see she can hold herself with elite runners, right? They've grown up. Whereas before, when we grew up, triathletes would come into it after they burned out from swimming, or they burned out as a cyclist, or they burned out as a runner. Oh, let me go try triathlon.
They burned out as a hockey player.
Or an ice hockey player, right? They come into it and they say, let me try triathlon. Now it's like from 5 years old, they're triathletes and they're optimizing their swim. They're optimizing their bike. They're optimizing their run. And I mean, look at 30:52 from a triathlete.
Well, I'm going to be you for a moment, and I'm going to take credit for her 30:52.
Take it, but it's all you.
We talked about this 4 years ago.
Yep.
When we made the prediction that sport is going to get, the level of sport performance is going to increase because of the pandemic.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
We talked about, because athletes got a whole year off, it's going to reshape training modules. It's going to reshape how much recovery is needed, because it's being a professional athlete, especially triathletes, it's a tough road job, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so anyway,
on the road,
I wanted to really recognize that performance.
And I think you need to realize, like, our athletes, especially our athletes who are working a full-time job, you have families, whether you're racing a sprint distance, Ironman distance, and everything in between. Like you said, like, you can do all the training in the world, but I think one thing that these athletes are really working in is their nutrition, and they're working on their recovery and their rest, right? They've added so many recovery modalities. They've thought a lot about heat training in recovery and how that increases blood volume. It's not so much go up to altitude anymore. It's let's get our heat training in. Let's really optimize their blood volume that way. So they're learning all this science. They have all this science-based evidence, and they're implementing that into their training. And like you said, I think at the pandemic time, it was really gave them time to dive into it, instead of just, let me train for the next race. Let me train for the next race. Let me train for the next race. They really absorbed all this knowledge, and now they're applying it into the training. We're seeing 7:30 Ironmans are normal now. 30-minute 10Ks off the bike from these Olympic distance athletes. It's exciting to see, but you called this 4 years ago.
On a U.S. John, I'm spacing on John's last name at the moment, but he's with coached by Ryan Bolton, who I help with the swim on the USA Triathlon's high performance team or Olympic hopefuls. He just ran a 28-22 10K in Australia.
Unbelievable.
Right?
Unbelievable.
These are good run times for triathletes.
Yeah, and they can do this off the bike, like take a couple seconds off here and there, but they're going to be running these times coming off the bike in the Olympics down the road, and we're going to be in the coach's box, Cher.
Well,
the Olympic tickets went on sale a couple weeks ago. I can't afford this. I got to pay taxes. I can't. I opened it up. I said, nope, ain't going to happen. Triathlon sold out. But I said, we're coaches at triathletes. We're going to be right on the start line with these guys.
Well, I want to give some good news and then some not so good news.
Oh, come on. It's all good news.
Where do you want to start?
I want to go with the good news.
The good news. This book, guys, is coming out.
Freestyle Biomechanics. Who's that by?
If you're looking at, if you have the screen, here's what the cover is going to look like.
Prins.
Yep. Jan, PhD. Freestyle Biomechanics.
So I used to play outside with this guy, Jan Jas. It was Janjas was his name. Jan Jas.
Yep. Jan Jas.
Jan.
YY? Yeah,
Jan Prins.
It's not out yet. It's going to be out. He sent me a promo copy. We chatted quite a bit. Jan I've known his name, Jan, for many, many years. We've never met, but when I was in the publishing business, we utilized him quite a bit he's a researcher, swimming, he's got a PhD in biomechanics, and he's been studying swimming and former swimmer. Then he coached the apprentice under the great coach Doc Counsilman at University of Indiana, right? Mark Spitz's school. And then Jan went off onto his own to University of Hawaii, so head coach there, and he's always been in the educational and biomechanics of swimming world. And he talks at all these seminars and so forth and so on. So he's well known as a researcher. So he's finally put all this stuff into his book. One, it's excellent for triathletes.
So you read it?
Yes. It's outstanding. Lots of visuals. The beauty of what he did that I couldn't do in my book. So this is self-published on Amazon. I had too many restrictions or too many handcuffs on me. I only have one chapter on mechanics. And for me, which was chapter 4, it should have been 8 chapters, right? Yeah. He was able to design this book and create the flow how he wanted to. Lots of visuals of how to and then how not to, and the most prominent how not to mistakes that many triathletes make. Now, it's a book for anybody, right? Meaning it could be a lap swimmer or super elite swimmer. But it also touches triathletes are going to benefit quite a bit from this. So once I have more details from Jan, I will let us know. But it's freestyle biomechanics.
Maybe we get Jan on the episode.
I want to.
With this new Riverside, I can just add him to it's really easy to add right now. So I can just say add participant, add Jan, and he's in.
He'd be great.
Done.
I would love to help him get on a number of podcasts because he knows his stuff. He's a lovely, just understated gentleman from Sri Lanka.
Well, you always said that Sri Lanka. You always said the hardest chapter of your book was the technique chapter, right? It took you forever to write that thing because you didn't even. There's so much you had to put in there. Didn't know where to start. Didn't know where to finish. He took that entire chapter and made it into a book, and I look forward to it. I think you should leave this thing here. Let me read it. It might learn something.
And it's
so it doesn't have me in there as a model.
It's true.
You need to add that. We called Jan Jas Yanni. You know Jan Jas? We go to the bar, he take his entire teeth out, top and bottom, take them out, and put it on the bar. I walk around like that. But that's exciting. So it's freestyle biomechanics. Do we have a release date yet or no?
No.
Okay, so we'll look forward to that. We'll get Yanni on here to talk about it. We call him Yanni now. What's the bad news?
The not good news, it's good news for him personally, but professionally it's not good for the rest of us. Rob Slumaker has retired, and he is the founder, creator of Vasa.
Oh, that's right. That's not good news.
And I am a big fan, supporter, proponent of the Vasa machine. If you're a triathlete, you should have a Vasa.
Yep.
You must have a Vasa, especially if you don't have a swim background. And I remember when Rob started Vasa 30-something years ago, saw him at the first show that he brought the machine to, and I was I bought one right away from him. and it's a wonderful product. He's put his heart and soul into it, and he's an old fart like me. I think he might even be a little bit younger, but he's decided to retire. And the business is sitting out there, I'm sure, for somebody to come take over or buy out or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So I think
Tower
it's
26 by Vasa by Tower 26.
well, I did send him a note and we corresponded a couple of times, but
Retail, man. I
I'd
don't wanna
love
do
to
retail.
see that, not, put to bed.
Well, brought up David Y earlier in the episode. I mean, he uses Vasa 3-4 times a week, and the way it has changed his swimming and his consistency with it, just the amount of durability that he has built, that he can just swim that 120 pace from start to finish, nonstop, doesn't fatigue. It's just, I mean, the amount of it is amazing.
That guy's
Amazing
almost
change
70
in
now,
his
isn't
swimming.
he? How old is
70,
David?
70 this year.
Yeah.
So
Pretty amazing.
Vasa, man, you can still find a bunch of the machines online. He's still selling them till he has them, all sold. But yeah, if you're looking at a company, an endeavor, you guys, Vasa's for sale. Go get it, and I'll be your first purchase. If you buy Vasa, I'll buy the first machine from you. How we put that out?
I like that.
Yeah,
I
there
like
we go.
that.
All right, so do we want to get in that workout of the episode?
I want to do two things quickly.
Yes.
I want to make sure that this is the time of the season where we're moving into our sharpening phase.
Sharpening phase, yeah.
And we're getting ready to roll into our open water skill building phase. So, Jim, I don't know if you remember this. Were you around then?
I was not around, no. So open water swimming.
Open water swimming. This is the first ever.
Skills, technique, and racing tips. Open water swimming.
And I'm showing this on the screen for whoever's watching this. This is the first ever. They don't even have these around anymore. DVD
what
produced on open water swimming by myself and Mike Collins.
Are you in that?
Mike, photo me in the
You
back
in
there,
it.
buddy.
Look at you.
Look at that.
In a
Those are-
Speedo. Are
those are
you
the-
kidding me? I'm going to put this on my wall.
Those are the
next to
studly
Right
days.
next to the torpedo. Wow. That is awesome, dude.
So,
Guys, look at that big hunk-o-matic Rodriguez on the back of that thing.
So-
Where'd you find that? It still has the wrapper on.
as you know, we moved, and I
Still
found
has
like
the
about
wrapper on. So what are we going to do with this?
I don't know. I brought it for you as a
Put it
memento.
on- I'm going to put it on a screen behind us for the next episode.
It's a reminder of the season is coming up, and there are certain tools that you need to have. This is one of them. I'm
Tempo
promoting.
Trainer, we have Tempo
We have.
Trainer.
These are not sponsors. These are just products that if you want to be great in open water, this is a
Finis.
tool made by Finis, right?
Tempo Trainer. Yep.
Tempo Trainer.
They're worked into all our workouts at this phase of training.
Exactly.
Coaching.tower26.com.
Yes.
Tells you how to use it. Keeps your stroke count steady. We have stroke count. We have our stroke rate at different efforts, and that keeps us in alignment with that stroke rate at those efforts.
It's helpful to be able to acquire different training gears and different cadence rates for open water in particular.
Yep.
Okay. Dynamic environment, you need some additional skills. This is one of the tools that will help you with that.
Well, that's one thing we were talking about on the bike this morning, right? From a bike standpoint, is the name of my workout this morning was called Adding to the Toolbox. So we had all these different effort levels and all these different cadences, right? To say, hey, when you're out there riding on course and race day, it's dynamic. Things are changing. You're going up, you're going down, you're pushing over the top, you're coming out of turns. You're going to use all these different cadence, all these different power ranges as you're executing the bike. It's not just, boom, click it in one gear and go for 56 miles or 12 miles or 24 miles. It's the same thing for the swim, right? It's not like you're just jumping in and, okay, let me just set the freight train at 60 miles an hour and go across the country. It's move around this guy, go over this guy, go around this, speed up to this. You have all these different demands, and this Tempo Trainer helps you achieve those demands as you're out there in that dynamic environment.
And if you don't like the Tempo Trainer, these goggles, again, they're not a sponsor. I mean, I just believe in these products, these Form goggles. And you know what the feedback I'm getting from athletes? They call it the cyborg.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
The
we
cyborg,
call it.
and they don't want to wear it because it's too clunky. Because it has a little casing on the side where the sort of the lack of a better term, the computer sits. Again, this gives you your stroke rate, your distance per stroke. It counts your strokes per length. It gives you your splits per 25.
Mhm.
I mean, this is what swimming has been missing. This would be like a cyclist saying, I don't want to have anything to do with power meter. I never want to use one in a workout.
Yeah.
One thing not to use it in a race, but in workouts, those things have been of tremendous value in training sessions.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, I mean, just the distance per stroke that you get on those that you can see that, and you can actively engage in, hey, I need to get a little more per stroke, because if we get more per stroke, taking less strokes with more power, we're going to go faster. We're
And
going to be more efficient. We're going to save energy.
and heart rate.
And
heart rate's
on
something
those too,
difficult
yeah.
to measure in swimming. It has a sensor that sits on your temple and gives you real-time heart rate. So
Yeah.
these are, if you want to really improve open water swimming, and you don't come from a swim background in particular, there are two products: Form Goggle and Finis Tempo Trainer.
And coaching.tower26.com, buddy.
Yeah, let's get
Go to that. Coaching.tower26.com. That's going to change your swimming, especially at this time of year. So if you haven't joined yet, go join now. $95 a month. Is $95 a month? Is that what we're doing? $95 a month. You get all the same. Is that right? 95?
I'm trying to remember. We don't do a monthly; it's a quarterly. But it works out
Whatever
somewhere
it is,
around there.
times
Two
three.
something
Times
a
that by
quarter.
3. 200 and some a quarter. But you get all the workouts that we do in Santa Monica, in Southern California, in Santa Barbara, all geared towards open water swimming, triathlon success. So we're going to go over one of the workouts right here, as we do every episode. If you want to see the workout in full, go to coaching.tower26.com. Which workout are we picking for this one, Jared? Do we know? Today's workout? Is that what we're doing? Do we decide
Sure.
on that?
Why don't you do it?
Today's workout.
Sure.
I don't even know what today's workout is. I didn't look at it yet. But I can. So if you look at it, we can see all the detail. We show you how to do the stretch cords. We show you what kicking is, tautness, kicking on your bike, alignment, hand channels, sighting, all this kind of stuff. But let's see, we can collapse that down. So if you didn't want all the detail of the dynamics of the workout, you can see the actual workout here. And what we work in here is this is one of our go-to sets, Jared. What do we do on this set?
Let me pull that up, Jim. Which are we going to the
It's
most
hard
recent
to see
one?
on this computer, the most recent one, where we got 100, 200, 2 by 100, 200, 3 by
Right.
100, 200.
So we're in that transition phase, Jim, as you know, right? We call this a bridge week before we actually really go into our sharpening phase, and where our workouts are going to have some more specific demands on being able to swim a fast 100 on a triathlete. May say, why do I need to swim a fast 100? Well, you can swim a fast 100. You can swim a faster 200. Or faster 400,
Exactly.
or faster 800.
Same thing
right?
I say for threshold work on the bike or on the run, right? If we can run a faster mile or we can put out a bigger threshold effort, everything else below it's going to be faster.
Exactly. So we sharpen up to swim a stronger 100 and a stronger 1K. And we do a lot of specific demands and training sessions over these next 6 weeks, right?
Yep.
So this is one of our standard warm-ups. You know, we did a couple 2 5-minute-ish efforts with fins and snorkel, all technical. First one was swimming, focusing on headbutt and heels at the surface. You know, our drill on tautness that we talked about with our torpedo here. And then the second one was 50 kick, 50 swim, and we progressed effort every 50 kick, 50 yards or 50 meters kick, 50 meters swim. And then repeat that several times, depending on the distance you have for your level. So some went a 400, some went a 300, and so on. And we increased effort each 100. That was continuous, so gentle effort on the first 100, a little bit faster in the second 100, and so on as we're progressing warm-up. And then we concluded warm-up with 1625s. I made a slight variation to what's on here, but we swam 3 and kicked 1. And you're going, well, why do I need to kick? I'm a triathlete, right? Well,
Yeah.
we still need proper body posture, proper body positioning, proper body shape. How do you hold your body in the water? So all the kicking was done on your back. So you're forced to be, or tried to be streamlined, hands above your head. You add fins on to make it easier. Fins need to be touching the surface of the water as opposed to what we see all the time where the legs are hanging downward, right? That's just massive resistance.
Yeah, totally.
So we swam 3, we progressed effort 1 to 3, sort of an easy, moderate, fast by the third one, and then we kicked the fourth one, and we went 4 cycles through for a total of 1625s.
Working on that torpedo position, right?
Exactly. And then I'm going to skip that portion of 100s and just go into the main set there. But the 100s that you're seeing on the screen, those were 8 100s or 8 75s, depending on your level. And that was more of to make sure everyone's really warmed up. I wanted to add in another warm-up segment, so add about 12 minutes-ish of super warm-up. And then we hit the main set. And again, it's 2 gears, 2 effort levels. Upper level, higher output, 85, 90%. And then a 70%, 75%-ish effort. So the shorter distance, in this case, it was 100 followed by a 200, 100, a good premium effort, and then a 200 somewhat recovery.
Yeah.
And then we did 1 of each.
And you're only in 5 seconds rest after those hard hundreds. I mean, you're pretty much touching, taking a beat, and then going into the longer swim.
Exactly.
Right? So you're swimming these fast on on tiny rests. So when you go through the first and second round, sure, maybe you can hold 2 100s at that speed, but can you hold 3 with short rest? And by the time you get to the 4 by 100, which we go up to, or I think the lower levels did a 4 by 75. I mean, you're feeling the tingling, you're feeling that lactate build, but can you get through it at the pace that you chose at 85%?
And to your point earlier, it's about being able to make sure you're managing your effort carefully and not overdosing or over-indexing too much in the beginning, right?
Yeah, so we really got to know those efforts, and we got to take the easy, right? You hit that 100 when you're done with it, and you go back into that longer 200. That's an easy swim. 70% is floating out, relax, good distance per stroke, and you really take that serious.
Well, that's sort of the common thing that what's the sexy word today of zone 2 training?
Yeah.
That's your zone 2, right?
Right.
And then we wrapped up the workout. We don't have to go into the detail of it, but we had some pulling at the end because it's always good to, after you have some intensive efforts, to pull for recovery and proper mechanics, right?
Yeah, totally. You're right back to that pull and get back to the good feel for the water. We actually go to coaching.tower26.com for all that. But we actually had a question on YouTube here, Jer.
Oh, okay.
For Wayashu. Wayashu asks, I'm a beginner and I started training for a 70.3, which happens within the next 4 months. If you have to start over again, what advice would you give? Are there any do's and don'ts? If you have to start over from scratch again, like he's doing or she's doing, I'm not sure why Ashu is a man or a woman. It doesn't say here. But are there any do's and don'ts? What would you do? How would you approach that next 4 months of swimming or training going into a race that's 4 months away, starting from scratch?
You got to build a foundation, okay? Whether the race is 2 months, 4 months, and you have to think into the future because once that foundation is in place, you're more likely, Jim, to become a lifer or extend your sporting duration, right? 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 years into the sport. It's a lifestyle. If you don't build that foundation out, you have a horrible experience, right? And I mean foundation, technical foundation, right? You don't have a good experience in the swim. It doesn't set you up for success in the race. And overall, you might leave the sport sooner. So spend at least the next 6 weeks learning good swimming mechanics under the components of tautness, alignment, and propulsion. We've done a handful of podcasts on those, right? Learn to hold your body really well in the water. That's the structural integrity that we talked about earlier in this episode. Learn how to have great alignment, and then only when you have those two things, get into propulsion. How much force you apply, and cadence rates and so on. But nail down those first two, tautness and alignment. So the technical aspects. And then you could layer your training load after that. Right?
Looking at an overall, overall from a whole training perspective is if you're just starting from scratch, you just got to look at it like you're exercising, right? You're not going out to swim as fast as you can, bike as fast as you can, run as fast as you can. You're going out to really be mindful of the process, slowly build all of it. And if build it, right? Take a really long time to build, let your body absorb the stress, get used to the movement pattern of each individual discipline, and be consistent day in and day out. It's not about how much you can swim in one session, how fast you can swim in one session, how many watts you can put out, what's your mile time. Hey, I want to go run a half marathon as fast as I can. The first week I start training. Okay, then you're going to be injured and you're not going to race, right? Like Gerry said, you want to have fun, you want to enjoy the experience. Low stress. Look at it like you're just going out there exercising, and your number one goal is to just get across the finish line happy.
Agreed.
Listen to this podcast and take your nutrition.
And it takes time. I mean, Jim, a perfect example, we can close up with this, that I was in Santa Barbara this morning, as you know, coaching our workout, and one of our athletes I hadn't seen for about 6 weeks, Sergio. I don't think you've met Sergio yet. Sergio started new 6 months ago. His wife, it's interesting. He started to swim like a week before his wife had their first baby.
Good timing, Sergio.
Exactly. And Sergio would be considered a complete non-swimmer. I mean, can just about get across the pool, 40 strokes of length, highly inefficient. Oh, yeah. Highly inefficient. Not a ton of propulsion, no tautness, no alignment. No, I mean, not zeros, but low scores on all of those three. Seeing him swim today, I mean, I was proud. I mean, Eden, our coach there, and Jason, they've done a good job with her over the last several weeks, with him over the last several weeks.
He probably listens to the podcast too, so I take credit.
And he swam, 23, 24 strokes of length. Wow. His efficiency has improved. His performance has improved, but he's been laying the foundation over the last several months.
Yeah, he was in no rush. He's just patient, consistent, and mindful of the process. Good things happen. So don't be in a rush. Do the exercising and enjoy the ride. And then once you cross that finish line, reassess, and then you can figure out where you want to go from there, what you want to focus on. So, Jared, we're going to talk about next episode.
Let's talk about the Olympic agenda a little bit. What's coming up and our Olympic race, and then get into some open water specifics.
Yeah, and I want to have one of our other open water coaches, Chris Georges, come on and join us.
Oh, perfect.
Episode.
Yes.
So we're going to get him on here live. We're going to get him to fire up another microphone, and I think we get 3 at this table. Or maybe I'll, take a little of that tax return that I didn't get and go buy a new table that's more conducive to 3 people.
No comment.
No comment. IRS is going to be on the door. Hey, everybody, this guy's talking crap about us. Let's put him in the hay with my calculator and my pocket protector. Get out of my house. Get out of here, you IRS. All right, guys, on that note, for Gerry Rodrigues, Jim Lubinski, hey, you know what? We got a new code for Precision, TW26. Get your discount there. Thanks to those guys for doing that. But also, have a great day, guys. For Gerry Rodrigues, Jim Lubinski, the Tower 26 P Race Here podcast. Bye.